Hey guys, what's up? It's Schlaw coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schlaw. Never bothered to check my sleep for the day, so I don't actually know how I'm doing sleep-wise. But I feel pretty great, but again, that potentially could be short-lived. Because I'm about to explain, this is day 3, I suppose, or actually 4. Because it would be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is day 4 of the high salt experiment, and things are still much better than they were before. Although this morning I had a ton of ice cream. I mean, that had to have been over a pint's worth of ice cream. And I had the mint chip again today. I think I was mentioning that I was gonna. No, I don't think I mentioned it. I don't know if I articulated it or not, but the plain vanilla to me, it doesn't really seem so great because it's just like it tastes so similar to milk. And it's not the same. I mean, it's obviously the vanilla ice cream is better than milk, but it's slight. It's very slight, and I'd rather just have the milk. I'd rather just drink milk. It's a lot cheaper and it has a similar price. But the mint chip, I'm very into the mint chip. It's just very chill and nice. So I'm thinking, I'm probably not going to get the vanilla ice cream anymore because what's the point? It's very similar to just standard milk, and you're not really getting much out of it. So that's kind of my new thoughts on the matter. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say, really? So yeah, I'm just saying I'm feeling great right now, but it could be because I ate a lot of sugar and then things could crash later. Who knows? But like I said, again, a lot of it, and I know I'm not a professional, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but it still just does not make any sense to me. The whole if you eat too much fat and sugar, it's not good because, man, food is food, and if I'm somebody who it's very difficult for me to hit calories, why would it matter if I load up on some sugar? I mean, it's not. No, it's not fructose, it's sucrose. I'm not having the syrups. Because that's really where I can agree there's more of a reason to be alarmed. Because it's, high fructose corn syrup is a form that we would never really have. But regular, good old-fashioned sucrose, I forgot to mention too, I'm probably going to break a record for getting there early. I don't think I've ever left this early. So that's what I'm saying. I think something's been wrong. I just think it's possible my body or my metabolism does not handle keto that well just because of how, again, skinny and fast. People who are more normal, average weight, that is more or over. That's more conducive to keto, I think. But for someone like me, it's I don't know. I just don't know if I can eat enough without resorting to the ice cream. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not sure. It's all just experimenting at this point. But the salt is really the magical rock. The salt is just that magical rock. Just can't get over how amazing salt is, and that's really the main game changer. I still have a little bit of a headache now, and I'm not entirely sure why. I'm starting to think it really had less to do with the water intake yesterday and more to do with why am I stalling right now? It had less to do with the water intake and more to do with the yeah, what's going on? Oh yeah, more to do with the fact that I was lazy last weekend and didn't floss, and my wisdom teeth bother me when I don't floss because I never got them taken out. So yeah, it is what it is, but I believe that is what ends up going on and why I end up like that. I'm not super duper sure, but just saying, we're pretty sure that's why that happens. So, but I do think I also like undercut it probably a little bit with the water. Like I was so excited about the salt and not needing to drink water anymore that I got a little bit carried away, you know. And so yeah, just I don't know, just things to keep in mind. Really got to keep tabs on the flossing. Now, as for, I guess, the rest of my life, I think I'm kind of back on track. I mean, I'm still upset money-wise because I know I'm not making enough, but it's that, I don't know. I mean, what can I do about that? Like, it's just, I mean, a lot of people are in that kind of a situation, so what can you do, you know? It's a shame, but company won't give me hours. I guess I could really try to talk to someone if I wanted to, but I don't know. Just doesn't seem to pan out that way. But what I was saying is, I think I've noticed something that I'm assuming has occurred over like a broad, and I don't know that a lot of people realize it because we just became so inundated with it. But obviously with me and the nature of this show, and even outside of that, just the way I've operated, I think I've also succumbed to it, but I think I've avoided it more than most people. You know, there's certain behaviors that I engaged in this whole time that sort of kept it so I was just dipping my toe in the pool, whereas I think other people just jumped in. And so, essentially, I think the quiet moments are gone now. Like, there's really not too often that there is a quiet moment anymore. In your life, it's like before bed, you put a show on. You're listening to music before bed. You're listening to a podcast. And then that becomes habitual. And then so you're just always doing that. And that adds a lot of noise to your life. It adds a lot of noise to your life. And when you don't do that stuff, it is very refreshing to just genuinely have a break, you know, to not constantly be doing that. And that's why, like, when I would exercise during my breaks, I walk around at work, you know, I go outside, have the sun touch my skin, all the good stuff that you're supposed to do that I never see anybody else doing. For a very long time, I didn't even have headphones in, and I didn't use my phone at all. Now, admittedly, sometimes I do now. I'd say it's about a hybrid, but I tend to try to have restraint, And it's really important because you have some good thoughts and some good conversations when you're in that condition. You do. It's conducive. There's something to it. And I'm not going to be able to tell you it in a PhD level because I'm not educated yet, but those quiet moments are so special, especially before bed. Like, wasting that on a TV show or music is not good. And it's something that I kind of went back and forth on. I mean, sometimes I got into the habit of listening to music before bed because it was just something I heard people did, and then I tried it, and it was cool. It seemed cool, but nobody told me back then. This is when I was a teenager. Nobody was mentioning the potential downsides to it. Because there are. It's not good for the sleep cycle and all that stuff. But that's, this is how humans operate. Humans grab and optimize, but they don't optimize with the foresight of what's actually healthy or not for us. They're optimizing on the basis of, I guess you could say, least resistance, although it's honestly not always least resistance. Sometimes it's actually, it's not least resistance. Like in the case of, I've explained this a million times, in the case of fast food, that is not the path of least resistance. It's just not. The path of least resistance is not fast food. Sorry, I'm just getting thrown off because this guy behind me keeps putting his he keeps blinking me, even though this road is the speed limit is 35 and it goes into a 25, and he's I'm going 30 and he's flashing me. But I think I've explained this before. The reason why I do that is because it's just an area where there's this fairly hard turn, and so you have to do that, because you can't. If I was going 35, I'd just have to slam my brakes on for no reason to make the turn. So I just go 30 and maybe even a little under 30 because it's just the way the road's designed. Now, yeah, if you're going straight, you can easily just be going whatever. I think the speed limit's 30. The speed limit might be 30 though. And then it turns into 25 right at that intersection. But again, I guess people going straight just blow right by it or something. But just mentioning, I'm not doing anything wrong. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, he was just he was flashing his high beams frequently, and it just really threw me off. Nobody's ever done that to me before. So I don't remember what we were talking about specifically, but I know it was the quiet moments, trying to find the silence still. And it's because really nowadays you always have something playing. You're always, you're in the car, you put the radio on. You're going to bed, you put your show on. There's always some kind of noise, and it's never live or organic. It's not coming from somebody sitting next to you. It's coming from a pre-recording, an inanimate pre-recording. And I've talked before about the problems with celebrity culture and how, you know, everybody and it's actually really horrible. You know, the whole influencer thing, it just does not do anything good. And I've explained it before, but I feel like talking about it again now, so bear with me. You know, if you, in the past, there was no celebrities, and you spent all your time interacting with humans you knew, they were living very close to you, you talked to them and they talked to you, and they knew you, they remembered you, they knew who you were, they knew who you were as a person. And then I believe celebrity kind of culture really began in the 1900s at some point. I mean, of course, it was probably prevalent to some extent before that, but you really started seeing kind of mainstream things, mainstream types of celebrities, probably around when cinema was first coming up, and that's why I'm just broadly saying that, you know, the mid-1900s, maybe a little before that. But the thing is, in the beginning, there were fairly few celebrities, and basically everybody knew them. So its negative impacts on culture were not as prevalent. The negative impacts that I am describing was not as pervasive. So that's the problem, is we're finding ourselves more and more often in isolated settings where nobody's around, and we, to replace that, have to just use our technology to watch videos and essentially listen when nobody's there. And so it's disrupted our, because I've noticed with so many people that I talk to now, that's what they do. Like, they'll be listening, and then you ask them, okay, well, what's your thoughts on this? And then they just like seize up, and they like don't know what to say, and they're all like, I don't know, sorry, and it's like, I think people got so used to just listening that their brain it's not active anymore when it's listening. It sees listening as a passive thing. And it's very scary, because and I'm finally resorting to moving to a recorded platform, as I feel like that's the only way now to actually get any persistent attention, is to have things have permanence. It's the same thing, though. I mean, somebody could be listening to this and it could just kind of be on the back burner. And so they're not really going to remember what I say or take it with that much seriousness. And so that's what happened. And we had with this, sorry, I'm bouncing around a little too much. To finish with the celebrity point, over time, more and more celebrities became in existence. Like, the amount of people who were famous broadened and got larger and larger. Like, originally there was only so many actors who were really relevant. Now it's like there's a lot, and it's not official actors. It's like, I'm talking about every type of celebrity. So we're talking about influencers, you know? I mean, how many thousands of people are there on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. I mean, potentially, not even potentially, it's probably millions. I mean, it's not millions of relevant people necessarily, because I kind of doubt that, but there's like YouTubers that, I may watch who you've just never heard of, and vice versa. And I'm sure that problem is even worse on the short form content places. I'd assume it's like there's even more people who you don't, again, it's like somebody would know them, but somebody else has never heard of them. And this causes a lot of social confusion, because at least before, and we've talked about this before, the binding force behind what made cinema so good was a common experience. It was the fact that you watched the show, and so did other people, and so the experience was alive. It was a living experience, not because of what was on the screen, but because of the person sitting next to you. And that's what made cinema valuable. Whereas now, that's no longer the case. And so cinema no longer feels the same. It doesn't have the same value anymore, because everybody is watching different things for the most part. Now, again, to some extent, the same thing exists. I'm aware there's still popular shows that people have seen, and yeah, I mean, that's fine. But I'm saying, I think in comparison, it's a lot less, and then people's comprehension of the media has gone down. Because you just have to think about it. Back in the past, it's still, and again, obviously for certain people, it's less severe. But for other people, it's more. And in the past, it was just more of a just chill thing that, like, there was only a few movies, there was only a few celebrities, it wasn't that much to keep up with. And what I was going to say is, even if there are a couple popular shows now it's like you watch a show and then you'll just go on TikTok afterwards, right? Like, you're not really going to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and, like, process what was going on too much. You're probably not going to do that anymore. Whereas I remember some of the best moments after watching a movie that really touched me as a child was the time around watching the movie. It was thinking about it. It was, and it almost makes the movie larger than what it is, because you're thinking about it so much before, you're thinking of, like, and then if you want to watch it again, you're thinking about it a lot before, and then after you've watched it, you're thinking about it a lot afterwards. And that's how a movie really makes a deep impact. And that impact has shrunk, because now when you're done watching the show, you're bored and you want to go back on social media. So what I'm saying is, inevitably now, we could say at least people spend like an hour or two on short form content, which is completely irrememberable. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. It's not memorable. And yeah, it's short form content is not memorable. It's spending a lot of time doing something. And so not only is it an activity that doesn't create new memories, but it's not assisting with nurturing and processing the old memories, particularly the ones that you just experienced. If this was a show, for example, that we were just talking about, you finish watching a show and then now you're bored, and so you hop on your TikTok and now you just scroll your feed for an hour, and then the impact of the show is low, and when people have discourse about the show, it's lower, and that's solely due to, again, the fact that there's a million other distractions at any given point. So reflection and contemplation of a show is just not significant. Even when you do have some people who still do, there are long-form videos on YouTube where people will get into a show and what the show means and all this stuff, and it's still similar to what I'm talking about, but it's not exactly the same, because it's still just a YouTube video that you watch, and then you watch another video, and then it's like, what else is, then it's just another video, and then it's just another video, and really the true thing that made those moments special, either when I was a child or, whatever, is the thought. It was the fact that you really had time to think and take in what you had seen. And that was the magic behind it. And it's just impossible to do to the same extent nowadays. It is simply impossible. There's no way you can have the same degree of reflection as there once was. It's impossible. And it doesn't really matter how mindful you are, as long as you have a smartphone, it's very likely you've been affected by the same thing, because now every platform utilizes some kind of a scroll feed, and there's just so much more noise being thrust in front of your face. This is what it is. But again, my favorite movies and experiences as a child were only that because I had nothing to do surrounding them. You didn't have anything to do. And when, you're in the car with your mom, and we would go to the library, and, that's obviously such a slow experience. There's nothing that really occurs. Nothing happens. Now something is always happening. The pressure is basically infinitely on you, to where you could always be learning about something. You could always be pushing and pushing and pushing. There's no end to things. Whereas in the past, there were plenty of moments where just nothing happened. And that was just it. It was just, like I said, going to the library. Takes a good amount of time to be there, to be looking for books or even the DVDs to watch movies when you get home. I mean, it was a slower experience, and now it's irrelevant because all that stuff you can just get. Like, if you wanted to read something, there's millions of free PDFs of books, I'm sure. And then if you want to watch something, you don't even need to watch like a DVD anymore, because it's more addictive to use the internet. So it's fundamentally changed the way we experience things and the way we process things. And that's been the real difference with it, Things are not the same as they used to be, fundamentally. And it causes deep changes within humanity. And it's things that you don't, I don't know, maybe you don't know at first or you don't expect at first. Things like that. And that's why I think it's so important to point out, because you do see it quantified more sometimes. I mean, with driving, you see it. You know, if everybody drove like me, everything would just be better. But instead, people have to drive fast. They have to do dangerous things. And it's very, very sad and complicated. And it's just not, you know, it's not safe. It's not good for the car. People are very aggressive and crazy, you know, and I guess not everybody, but like I said, I've never met anybody who drives as well as I do. So, well, at least, actually, I'm not even going to say that, because there actually are people who drive better than me. I'm not like that great of a driver, I guess. Like, I don't see myself as that, at least, but I'm not going to say I'm like the best driver, but I'm probably more cognizant. Like, I'm a more conscientious driver than anybody I've seen. That's what I will say. Because that even still tends to be kind of my whole thing, I guess, is just being aware of, how, you know, doing this would affect another person, and a lot of those kind of thoughts and things. And yeah, I've slipped out of my precious gear so many times now, it's ticking me off. Not happy about it one bit. And again, it's because of unpredictable driving behavior, really. It's what it comes down to. But yeah, I mean, you think about that stuff. Like, if everybody just drove like me, I think you'd probably have 0 accidents. So you wouldn't even need insurance, or like if you had insurance, it wouldn't matter, because I like the insurance would probably be so low. And then yeah, there's like so many benefits with that. Now, you mean to tell me, I guess I just drove too slow and took it too easy this morning or something, because it doesn't appear that I'm gonna be, like, I thought I was basically guaranteed to be breaking a record today or something, but I don't see how that's going to be the case now. But it is what it is, I suppose. It doesn't really matter. I just see, like, I'm obsessive about time, but, well, I'm also obsessive about money. I'm obsessive about time, but I'm trying to not, because sometimes I would actually end up being in a rush as a result of that. That would happen. You know, I would be rushing due to my time obsessiveness, but I'm trying to be less like that. And because it is, I mean, it's impeccably good to be aware of time, but it's not good to just be rushing for essentially no reason. That's when it starts to just get unnecessarily bad and just not, you know, it's not conducive or productive or anything like that. When you're, you know, obsessive about time, but you're just rushing through things like a maniac and all that. So, I don't know. And I mean, even with myself, I complain about the commute tax, but all these trucks I see around here, like, their commute tax is astronomically higher than mine. So I don't even, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, I mean, of course I complain about my commute. I'd like to have a smaller car, but I'm not exactly sure how much it really matters, given I believe, and I'm going to look this up, I know a larger car has more drag, so it would affect highway performance. But I really think most of the downsides of a larger car is more braking wear, so it being harder to stop and then harder to start from a stop. So if I really had to put my scientific brain on, I would really assume that it's city driving that is the main issue with large car mile per gallon. And if you're driving very meticulously as I do, I just can't really see how it's a problem, I guess. Or I don't think it's as consequential of an issue. That's my thoughts about it. I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to think about this logically. How, yeah, like because if you're braking really easy or none at all, like you're utilizing a lot of just natural engine braking, like I do, and then yeah, I'm actually not. I guess driving a little bit slower does matter because I really was taking it easy this morning. I think it does add like a few minutes to the commute. And of course we were actually getting lucky, but the light luck has run out, so we may get gypped here. Yeah, pretty bad. Come on, man. No, we're just gonna get gypped. That's a shame. I could have ran it. I actually could have ran this red because there was nobody coming on either end. There was nobody there, so it just didn't matter. But yeah, now that's I don't know why that guy's car was like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't even. It sounded like that car was broken. Yeah, like I could have ran the red because I knew there was like 100% chance no cars were left and right, but I'm not that. I'm not that. What is the word I'm looking for? Brash yet? I'm not that. Well, first of all, I'm not rich enough. Like if I was richer and I could just pay off like oh, I got a ticket, who cares? I'd probably do it because, well, no, because then if I got stopped, that would be a way bigger hit to the car. Like in terms of, I was going to say, basically, I'm going to try to explain this. I was going to say it would be worth it to just pay a fine, even though I knew that there was a 100% chance that nothing unsafe would happen, because that's just paying a fine to the government, which is not, it's not like inherently a problem. Like if you pay a speeding ticket or something, it just goes to helping the police function or whatever. Like they have a certain quota, if you will, of money, and I don't really have a problem with that part of it if it meant that I could avoid putting extra wear on my car. But the thing is, it would put way more wear on my car if I had to stop for the police and get into all that nonsense, So then it becomes not worth it very quickly. And we did not park well right now. We did not park well. So kind of silly. And we didn't even make good time. That's so weird. We've made so much better time before. So yeah, it's odd. Like, this is not my best showing, and I left very early, so I guess there is merit to... There's merit to... I don't know. What am I getting at? there's merit to people speeding. Message of the day. Speed. It's worth it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What else is new? No, I'm obviously joking, but, it's true. It's true. You should speed. No, it's better for the car. It's better for the car, especially the tires to be going. I usually go like 55 to 60, but I think today I was going more like 50 to 55. And it is better for the car. Even though the car will be operating for slightly longer, you're putting less wear on it, and I think it ends up being worth it. Just because it might only be like a difference of like 2 minutes, or even like 1 minute. And the difference in the RPM being lower, as well as your tires not getting as destroyed, which is at least environmentally the main concern, so it's worth it. But anyways, it has been Schlaw, and now it's time to buy Schlaw. So, see you, Schlaw.